everybody, today I'm going to be showing you how to make a prayer rope. So first things first, you need your material. I like to use the 2mm satin rat tail cord, and I usually get that on bbcrafts.com. So there's the collections. It's fairly inexpensive, but I definitely recommend 2mm, and then definitely the satin rat tail cord. So there that is, and make sure you go to bbcrafts.com for that. There are also other places like Amazon.
Alright, so I start with 3 arms lengths. Right now I'm showing you the forearm length that I like to use so that I can end my prayer rope really well. So I make a cute little knot. It's a temporary knot, of course, to stop the other knots from flying off, and I'll show you why we need that excess string in a second. So you're going to put your strings around. I'm using multicolors today to make it easier to see. So I'm going to grab the white string, or the one on the right, and I'm going to pull it over my thumb like that, and I'm going to make a cute little swirl. Then take that, kind of do a little flip, and put it over your middle finger. So you have what looks like the shape of a fish. So you're going to grab the second string, in our case red, like I said, multicolored today. We're going to bring it over the thumb, over the head of the fish, and we're going to take the head of the fish off and make a box. So there's the box. I don't know if you can see it. It's not necessarily a box, but think of the box. So now we're going to take our right string and left string. So the right string is your priest and the left string is your deacon, and that's the storyline we're going to go with. So the deacon is going to go behind the priest, out through the deacon's doors, around the altar, back in through the deacon's doors, and then to go into the altar is going to go behind that little red string there, and go all the way through to make that little V. I don't know if you can see it. You're going to grab the base of that V, or you could say an X in the intersection. You're going to pull it over your thumb. Now you're going to take the priest. The priest is going to go out the deacon doors, around the church, back into the deacon doors, but he wants to find the Trinity. 1, 2, 3. You see 3 strings right there. That's our Trinity. So we're going to slide that string on underneath there, pull that all the way through. Now the deacon wants to be a priest. So the deacon is going to go behind the priest, outside, around, back in, and he finds the Trinity at the deacon's doors. So he's just going to go under right there and pull that all the way through. And then you're going to do the hard part, so pay close attention. So we're going to start by taking off the red string, or the string that's going to be connected to the top knot. In our case, it's going to be red because we did different colors today to make it easier for you to see. So we're going to take all of them off and then slide the one that connects to the last knot back onto your thumb. Okay, and now we're going to take the one that goes all the way around your finger that kind of looks like a ring. In our case, it's going to be white/silver. We're going to pull it back over our middle finger, like so, in the ring, and then just pull. So you're pulling all the knots together. It's like a big happy family, and you kind of want to form the shape of a knot. So now that you've formed the shape of a knot, just keep pulling, pulling, pulling. So then you're going to grab and pull the outsides of the little bow that you made, and the knot should slide up to the top knot. Alright, so we have our knot, and this just makes everything so much easier if you keep one loop out, and then hold the other loop and the 2 other strings that are not necessary in your hand. So you're going to put the last knot you made facing downwards. Now you're going to look at your knot, and you're going to move the string to the right 3 times, like the Trinity. So it's going to go through. It's a string, so it loops through 3 times. You're going to pull it through 3 times. And like I said, always to the right if you have your knots facing downwards, which they should be. So this is me right now. I'm pulling them through 3 times. And with the multicolor, it's obviously a lot easier to see where the knot goes through. But like I said, it's okay to use just a single color as well. And it is still okay. So after 3 times, you can just take that one string and pull it all the way through. So we're going to go over to our next string, and you can make this as tight or as loose as you want to, which is the beauty of making your own prayer rope. I like my knots to be tighter. So here I am, I'm going through with the white string, and I'm doing it again, where I'm just pulling it through 3 times. You can see where it connects, does a little intertwine. You just pull it through. So there it is, pulling it. And remember, to the right, as long as the knots that you've already made are facing downward. There it is. So now pull through all the way, and there's our first knot. So now I'm just going to undo that top temporary knot. We don't need it anymore. So, of course, because we're filming, it's not going to want to untie, but just try really hard, which is what I am doing currently. Yes, and we got it. So you're just going to undo the temporary knot, and just remember that the temporary knot is for the knot, the prayer rope knot to sit at, so that it doesn't fall off the string, I guess, because you want to have that extra string for the end when we make our little cross, and you will see that in a few seconds. So now we're going to do it one more time, a little bit faster though. If you want it again slow, you can go back to the beginning. So we're going to take it, and the red is going to go around the thumb, make a nice little swirly. You're going to pull the red from around your thumb, over, twist, make your fish. Pull the silver string or the other string over your thumb and pull the red string off, you make your box. Now you're back to the priest and the deacon. Your priest, your deacon. The deacon, remember, goes behind the priest, out, senses, back in. He goes into the altar. So now we're going to pull the deacon, which in this case is a silver string. We're going to pull him and make him into a V or X. Pull him over the thumb. Then you're going to take your priest, and he's going to go out, around, but he wants to find the Trinity, remember? So he's going to go right underneath there. And there's the silver string, that's your deacon. He wants to find the Trinity, but he finds it in between your index and middle finger. So remember, you're going to take the string that the knot attached to, the top knot, the last knot you did, and then the one that looks like the ring. Just like that. And then you're going to pull to shape the knot. Sometimes it takes a little bit of extra manipulation. So here I am struggling to manipulate it, but we're going to make a cute little knot, so it's okay. Alright, so there she is. And now remember, if you just pull them both, they would just go straight up to the knot. And if you remember my advice, pull the strings that you're not using to one side. The first knot you made is going to go down, and you're going to go to the right. So here I am going to the right, and it looks like I am starting with my pink string, so pink is going to the right. We found its connector, so now we're going to see where it goes through next. And it looks good. Looks like we're finding it. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Sometimes it's tricky and it wants to hide from you, and sometimes you just have to struggle to find it. And it's okay if you struggle to find it. Alright. See, even I have trouble, and I've been doing this for a little bit. So, sometimes you just don't know where it connects, and that's okay. Alright. I'm going to find where that connects. Now, I did say at the beginning of the video the 2mm is what I use. Basically, this is 2mm. The one I'm going to show you how to finish it with is 3mm. I definitely would recommend the 2mm, but if you're just starting out, it is a lot easier to see using the 2mm, or the 3mm, I'm sorry. But yeah, so I think there I am finishing it out. So you see that I really like to keep my knots very close and tight together. It's really all just personal preference. And so that's why I pull very, very hard, but you can do whatever you want to. It's your prayer rope. Okay. Now you have the knot and you can see I'm pulling on it again. But basically, there is the prayer rope knot tutorial, and now we're going to move on to finishing it. Alright, now I'm going to show you all how to finish your prayer rope. So this is the 3mm I was talking about. So remember, we have those longer ends from the beginning, and I said we'd get back to those, so there they are. So I'm going to use beads, and I'm going to slide the beads onto one side, and there it is. And then I do a knot there to hold the bead in place. So you just remember how we did the knot, so I'm kind of going a bit faster through it. You don't have to use multicolors. I did it just for the sake of the tutorial. It's a lot easier to see, a lot easier to follow. Most of my prayer ropes are just one color, but two colors just really shows what's going on. So there I am doing the whole ordeal. Alright, so I sped up the video because I'm just making another knot. Basically, you're going to do the same thing to the other side with the bead. So here comes the fun part where we're going to put the prayer rope ends together to make one prayer rope. So here I am. So as you can see, I put the bead on the other side like I was talking about earlier. Just pulling that through. And I think it's ready to, yep, there it goes. Alright, so I have two knots on either side of the bead. So now what I'm going to show you is I'm going to take one different color from each side. But if you're doing it as one color, it really doesn't matter. But I like to keep the knots the same, and honestly you can do it as if you want to just match gray and gray. But basically you need to be really careful with this because it's harder. But you're going to do the same knot technique. Pull everything, do the box. But it's going to be harder because you don't have that knot at the top to keep you sure of where you're at. So pull your V, Alright, so doing the priest thing, make sure you get all three in one place so you can make sure you get the priest under all three ropes. Alright, deacon finds his trinity. That one you don't have to worry about as much, but just make sure it goes under all three. Now, the pull off method is going to be attached to the knot. Very similar. It might just look a little bit weirder because you don't have a knot to connect these two. See, even I get a little confused with this process. Yes, you want to make sure you get those other strings out of the way because they can be very confusing when you're trying to do your final knot. So that's what I was doing there. Alright. So pull it, and as you can probably see, though it's hard because of the other, okay, there it is, the other knot, the other strings, you just make that knot and bind them together. So the two knots that are on the other side of the beads, those are going to be the right and left sides of your cross. And so the beads, or the knots you're making now, are going to be the top and the bottom. So there's that. And like I said, you want to get everything that you don't need out of your way because it just is very confusing. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so here we go. We're finishing by sliding that black, by pulling the black string. We are finishing out the top/bottom knot, depending on which way you look at it. It's really just perspective. So then you're going to take your other set of strings, and this is kind of where you're like, this is tedious, which can or cannot be true, but we'll see. So there it is. Just going to pull that on over. Basically the box method. So now you're just remaking that rope or that knot to put there. So it can be a little bit frustrating with so many strings, and notice how I put it all through under all three there. But like especially at that ending part, there's so many strings. So just like keep your head up. Like it's not the end of the world. If you mess it up, it just takes a lot of practice. So yeah, there she is, making that knot shape. Alright. So I pulled that nice and tight up to the top. So I'm cutting the ends off of the other one so I don't get those strings confused. And my lovely assistant, Dimitri Maritsos, aka Vanna White, is removing the strings from this shot. But, so there. Like I said, there's so much string it can be confusing, but I believe in you. So we're just going to finish out the knot.
Arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt have an inheritance among all the nations. God stood in the congregation of the gods, and in the midst he shall stand out among gods. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt have an inheritance.
Okay, so we are getting ready to end it. Just gotta pull the black loop through. And there it is. So now you have those two ends, and you're like, okay, well, it's not done. You're right, it's not. Oh, I'm still tightening it. Like I said, I really like to keep everything very close together. You can manipulate the knots to make it look more like a cross. It should, but should it not? Manipulate them. So take the scissors, and you're going to cut as very close to the knot, but you're not going to cut the knot. So you're going to take that, and you're going to throw the string. Well, don't throw it away, but you get what I mean. So here we go. We're going to do a nice quick little trim. And we're going to get this side again. Okay, now here's the dangerous part. They didn't know whether or not to trust me with that. You're going to take a lighter, be careful, and you're going to burn the ends. Kind of blow on it a little bit and then press down so that it's still somewhat melting. And then you're going to go to the other side there, and you're going to get the flame back. You're going to do that, push that back on there. Beautiful. Now if you hold it there long enough, it will catch on fire, so please be careful. So there's the cross. I don't know if you can see it that well. So that's how to make a prayer rope. I hope you guys all enjoyed this tutorial, and have fun making your prayer ropes.